And hello, thank you very much for joining me, Dean the Vaping Bike here. So this one is going to be just a quick live review. Basically, I was meaning to do a bunch of recording today. Real life got in the way significantly, as tends to happen when I make these plans, and it meant that I couldn't do what I wanted to do. So because of that, I'm doing a live review because I wanted to get some content out there for you. I didn't really think many people would be watching, and that's perfectly fine, but there does seem to be quite a few of you already, so thank you very much for joining. Very kind of you. Hopefully you can hear me okay, and everything's all right along those lines. So hopefully the sound quality should be pretty reasonable, hopefully, fingers crossed. I've had some interesting cock-ups of late when I've been doing my sound. So, yeah, hopefully it's all good. So, thank you very much for I'm not going to go through the chat, but I am keeping an eye on it. So, lovely to see you. Thank you very much. Obviously, this isn't a normal vlog or anything along those lines because I'm doing the review today. So, you know, I'm not going to go through the normal vlog format. But what I want to do is I want to just give you the review. We'll probably throw a quick build in. I've not prepared it at all, of the Nudge 22 RDA because I've not looked at that so far, and so thank you very much. Splucket, sound is good. That's good. Excellent. Hang on. Oh no, hang on. Oh, done. Right, so let's get this 22 on the road. I reviewed the 24 a little while ago, and I thought the 24, I think my end result was that it was okay, but it did seem to be sort of quite the pain when it came to building, and yeah, I didn't have a great time with it, but it was okay once it was built, from what I seem to remember. So with that in mind, I was quite interested with the Nudge 22, basically because we've got a slightly different size deck on it, a slightly different kind of build on the deck, and obviously being a smaller RDA, you've got a much smaller chamber as well. So if you're going for it from a flavour chasing point of view, then you know that might be another option. And I've got to say, I've been using this for quite a while now. I've got this little blue one going on over there, if that's going to kick it. There we go. The little blue one is sitting on top of my Pulse at the minute. I've had that on the I've had it on various builds, on the Capo Squonker and all sorts of things, but no, I've had it on the little Pulse for a few days now, and I thought that was quite an interesting little setup. It's quite dinky, as you can see by the old hand, so having that extra sort of slightly smaller RDA is nice on the Pulse. I do think that this that having the 810 drip tip on this does make it look ridiculous. I'm not gonna lie, I just think it makes it look ridiculous. Anyway, so let's dive down. Hang on, do I need my keyboard? I'm going to go with, I probably will, fuck it, we'll put that there though. You guarantee that I'll need to put keyboard links up or something in a little while. I've got, somebody's asked if I'm using 18650 or 2700. Alex, I'm using a 2700 in there at the moment, just because it was the first thing that came to hand. But anyway, right, let's get into seeing these little bad boys. See, what you gonna do? What you gonna do when it comes for you? Right now then, I just want to try and make sure I'm in as much focus as I can be before we do this transition. And there we go, sound effects as well. So you should see me in the corner, and you should still be able to hear me all okay, and everything should be good and golden. So what we've got going on here is we've got 4 colors, and obviously we've got the blue color here, which is the one that I'm using at the moment. But I just wanted to show you all these the different colors that we've got. The red one here, which I think is actually quite a nice red. It's not kind of it's not too pink, although the drip tip's a little bit on the pink side, I'm not going to lie, but it's not too pink. The black is obviously nice, and it makes the logo really stand out, which is great. The gunmetal version is I really like this kind of, do they call it gunmetal? Metal, they just call it a metal, but I really like this color. I think it's a very cool sort of grey color. I do like that a lot. And then you've got this this silver one, which they do just call it silver. I'm not really a massive fan of this silver color, just because I don't really know what it would look good on top of. Do you know what I mean? If I can get the bugger out of the box. And if I focus that up for you so you can see exactly what I'm talking about. there we go. You see, so it's this kind of thing going on. It reminds me of a sort of a 70s glamtastic party fucking outfit. Do you know what I mean? That's what it reminds me of. But that's that colour. But like I say, this gunmetal version, I think this is pretty darn sexy. I think it's got the right amount of hint of the sort of the sparkly aspect as well as the cool grey. But no, those are the different flavours that I've got to show you today. What we will build, let's use the gunmetal one just because I think it looks sexy. So there we go. This is what we've got to look for. In fact, why am I holding up to the camera? Why don't I just zoom in? Can we do that? Do we have the technology to do that? We do. Not in focus though. Up, there we go. Look, focus is kind of there. So let's have a little look at the inside. So what we've got going on here is we have got the RDA. Get that bugger out there like so, and it is a dinky little thing. This 22mm on the outside. What you've got is, well, actually no, before we get into that, look, I'm getting ahead of myself. See, come the fuck out. Really wish these companies would make things easier to get out of boxes. Out you come, you bugger. Right, there's that, and come on, I'm going to break my stylus. Yeah, look, with this little camera in the corner here, you can't see me when I'm shaking my head and swearing a lot. Right, so what we've got going on here is another cap. We've also got the 510 reducer going on in there as well, so we can dump that in there just for the moment. And the reason we have this other cap is very similar to things like the recoil and all that sort of stuff. Essentially, we've got what could be classed as the cloudier cap with the big old 810 drip tip going on in there, and then we could have what could be classed as the kind of the more flavour cap with the slightly smaller air hole going on. So that's something that we've got, and I'll talk about the size of these air holes a little bit more when we go up top. But no, that's the two different caps. Now, obviously, both the caps have the Suck My Mod logo on it because this has been made with Wotofo and Matt from Suck My Mod. And then on the other side, we do have the Nudge logo as well, which Wotofo are seeming to use this Nudge name for everything squonk related from those guys at the moment, as opposed to a particular model. So that's that. Is it anodized aluminium? Yes, I think it is. Brett. We do have that anodization on the inside as well. And if I show you the inside of the cap that I've used mostly on this blue one, let's get in focus, you can see that we haven't got any kind of parts that have all worn away or have been damaged from constant sort of being taken on and off. So I'm very pleased with that. I mean, obviously we have seen in the past and with a couple of Wotofo products that we have seen sort of chipping going on the inside, but that was with paint rather more than the anodization process. So yeah, there we go. That's that bad boy inside there. So seriously, I've got a problem. I can't stop saying bad boy. That I have issues. Anyway, so this is the one that we are going to be looking at today. Underneath there, we'll pop the other cap on when we go up top as well. You can see that it says Suck My Mod. You've got the Wotofo thing going on there and Wotofo.com. And you can see in there that we've got the squonk pin and yeah, give it a little blow, and that's certainly the squonk pin already installed for you. So they must be obviously the calling of it, calling it the Nudge means that they are kind of pushing hard to have this as a squonker. But let's have a little look and see what else we get in the box. So we've got a honking great big screwdriver there, which is nice, and it's a Phillips head. Well, you're not going to be able to see that through the bag. When it comes to the old manual, let me have a little flicky poos there. We've got, you know, it's all right. Prepare the cotton and coil. So I don't know if you're going to know what that means, but there we go. There's things, there's stuff, there's information. There you go. I mean, it's super basic. It is super basic, but it gives you the sort of the basic idea of what you're doing. Although I imagine if you're going to be buying something like this, then you will be kind of fairly au fait with building it, so it doesn't really need to be too hectic when it comes to exactly what's what. This is obviously instead of the old, remember the old t-shirt you used to get inside the boxes? Mr. Todd would always say that it still doesn't fit him. But anyway, there you go. There's a little card there. On the back of that, it's just got a great big logo thing going on. And then inside here, we do have the little bags of stuff. Now in here, this one is, I'm sure you guys will know all about this. Roy saying, I wish they wouldn't paint the inside of the cap. That's what I was mentioning, buddy. I think this is anodized rather than painted, so there is no I haven't had any kind of chipping or anything going a little bit wobbly on this one since I've had it. So in here you can see that the spares we've got are extra O-rings, post screws, and the regular 510 pin. And you'll see also that on this regular 510 pin there is actually a little insulator going on all there already, which is nice. Throw that light back in there, and then in here, I mean, you'll know what these are all about. You'll know what all these are about if you've used anything from Wotofo before. I'm not going to bother trying to pull that out. There you go, cotton, bosh. And in this one, we've got a coil. And we've got another coil. So even though we've got basically a single coil RDA, where's the middle of the camera, we've got a couple of coils there to play with. Now, the one thing that, as far as I can see, there isn't any mention of, and don't hate me if I'm wrong, but I don't think there's any mention of what these coils are actually made of. So I don't know what the wire is or anything along those lines. So I would always suggest that you should make your own. To be honest with you, you shouldn't really be going with an RDA if you don't know how to make your own coils anyway. But no, that's what's in the box. Now then, let's get to this little puppy itself, shall we? So as we've already said, this is a nice looking little RDA. In fact, let me get it on top of this mod just so I can pull it apart. And there we go. Inside the top cap there, you can see that there is a kind of a tiny sort of rounding. I wouldn't call that doming, but sort of a tiny rounding of it going off. And with this cap, with the 510 reducer, and once again, it doesn't dome it around, but it does kind of have a delicate edge to it, for want of a better word. So, you know, does it help with flavour? Probably not. But here we go. This is the deck that we've got to play with today. So unlike the Z deck that the original 24 had, this one is kind of a much more regular kind of deck, I would imagine is the best way of saying it. And, you know, I quite like this deck. I think it's quite easy to build on, although, as we will see, there is something that you do have to be aware of. Now then, sorry about this moving around to try and make sure that it's in the middle of the screen here, but I'm doing my best. So what you've got going on here is obviously you've got the squonk hole coming out of the center here. That's something that this whole center section with this positive pin and insulator going on in there is much higher than the outsides here. So you do have the juice wells either side. So that means your juice can go down into that and your juice will cascade from the top of there and hopefully into each side there. Now when it comes to the airflow is on the sides. You can see that we've got the airflow poking through right here, and if I spin it round, you'll notice that we do have an insulator around the outside of the positive pin, but still allowing that airflow to go in. So I do like the fact that we've got this insulator here just to make sure there's no chance of anything touching the outer sides, although I imagine the fact that it is coated on the inside, I imagine that might help reduce any potential of contact anyway. But no, when it comes to these airflow holes, they are angled. I'm trying to figure out if I'm going to be able to show you on camera very easily or not. Where's the bloody middle, Dean? Where's the focus? These are angled down ever so slightly. So if I put it on an angle like so, then you can kind of see that is an angled airflow. So that's all to help your coil get into that will get the air underneath the coil, which is exactly what we're looking for to really kind of boost this on the extra flavor level. But no, as far as it goes, when it comes to building it, it's super easy to build. You have got these 4 screws. Let me just zone in on something a little bit closer up. Hold on, I know it's out of focus. There we go. Look at that for focus. I've only got to worry about keeping it in the middle now. So you can see that the inside is machined out nice and cleanly, which is great. However, just something to be aware of. This is really hard. Okay, so can you see on the inside of this screw over here, on the inside of that screw there, that there is actually quite the gap in between the screw and the side wall of the post. And for me, that's something that you do have to be aware of, because when using, if you're using kind of thinner wire like 26 gauge, or even, I mean, I've even had some Clapton wire do the same thing. It's very, very easy for that wire to just kind of flick itself, especially when you, oh fuck me, getting there, especially when you're tightening it up, to just flick itself up into this kind of side area here and not be fully captured by the screw. So just be very much aware of that when you do put your coils in. However, the great thing is that obviously we have got these, well, this is really difficult. We have got these screws at each corner, so whether you're coiling overhand or underhand or however you like your coil placed, it is super easy to build. So hopefully that's given us a little bit more information, but like I say, I would say just to be a little bit careful when it comes to where you place your coils. Now you'll see that on mine, on this one, I've got the coil legs coming out from underneath the coils rather than over the top of the coils, and for me that's just allowed lots of air to get underneath it. However, if you do put a massive great Clapton in there, you do have to be aware of the fact that you are very, very close to your mouth. So I mean, no, you can't see, that doesn't help. Oh, there we go, you can kind of see that there's a blackened coil in there, so just be aware of that when it comes to spit back. This is not going to be something that is going to be this is not an atomizer that is really designed for sort of major clouds or anything like that. This is designed for your sort of flavour chasing. You're still your lung hitting, but flavour chasing more than anything else. So that's something you really, really do need to be aware of. Now then, something else to let you know about is when it comes to this air situation going on here. Where is it? There we go. Let's make sure we're in as much focus as I can be again. Tell you, this is I'm trying hard for you guys. Boom, wallop, let's try that. So when it comes to this airflow, whilst the airflow is going on the side of that, you can see that there isn't anything either side of that post. So what that means is that as you turn this over, then you're not able to restrict that airflow in the slightest, because it's just going to kind of, there it is from the other side, that's going up to the air hole, there's the air hole, and then it's coming away, and then it's going to the post. So you can't really restrict the airflow by twisting the top cap, and that is why we've got this extra top cap to give us a slightly more restricted airflow. But once again, you can cut it down ever such a small amount if you're careful, but not a whole hell of a lot. So you certainly won't get this as a mouth to lung RDA. So hopefully that clears all of that one up. Now then, just before I go down into the build, let's have a little quick look in the chat there. Don't know. Right, okay, so I think there's been a couple of people mentioning about the single or dual coil kind of situation. Now, this is something that I feel reasonably strongly about, and the reason is when you have a dual coil, if you're doing single wire, then obviously you could have, say, 8 wraps of 22 gauge wire or 24 gauge wire, and it will cover that much of your wick. If you have a dual coil, then you've got 2 of those. Now, when you have a parallel coil, so essentially in something like this where you can fit a single coil into it, but if you make that a parallel, then essentially rather than having that, you're going to get twice the length anyway, because you're using exactly the same amount of wire as you would do if you're doing a parallel. Now, that's just something to be very much aware of, because I hear a lot of people talking about this kind of, oh, only dual coil, I don't like single coilers. Well, that's all dependent on how you coil it, because if you're using a dual core or triple core Clapton, then you're essentially using a dual single wire core or a triple single wire coil rather. So you're still getting that wick coverage, you're still getting that resistance drop, and so you're not benefiting by putting 2 coils as opposed to 1 big coil. Does that make sense? Hopefully that makes sense. So yeah, that's the thing. Oh, is the Super Bowl not on yet? I heard that it's happening today. Good luck to you know, those of you that support that team, and go sports. So there we go. Right, so what we will do is we will get a build going on in this one just to show you that it is super simple to build on, and we will bang it on a squonker and away we go. Now, because it is quite a short little puppy, obviously you've got to be very aware of the fact that you can over squonk and you can over drip as well, but it's life, you know. If you want a little dinky little atomizer, there's only so many places that juice can go. So I'm sure you're all bright enough to understand that one. Now then, I'm just going to get. See, this is what you don't see when it's pre-recorded. You don't see me fanning around with things. What do I need? I'm going to cheat. We'll stick a 3mm coil in here because that's what I like. And away we go, and we can see the full beans build on this one as well, for those of you that that love all that sort of stuff. Hang on, I'm just getting the camera all sorted out. I hope you're all having a fantastic Sunday, by the way. Okie dokie. So I think I've got shit everywhere. I think we're going to be good to go. Once again, hello to everybody in chat. And because this isn't a normal vlog, I'm not doing my normal kind of attention to chat. I'm just trying to make sure that people aren't knobheads. Now then, what I'm going to do is I am going to be using one of my Coil Master jigs just because it's super easy. And why the hell not? So I'm going to use a 3mm bar in it. Wallop. I have been testing the crap out of the Daedalus V2 today, so I've made a bunch of Clapton wire, and this is a variety between 38 gauge and 36 gauge on the outside of dual core 26 gauge. So let's make this happen, shall we? I'm going to stick that in there, wallop, throw that around there, get that started, and we will go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and I'm going to go for 6 just so I can pull one off. I probably don't need 6. I could do 6 to be honest with you, but yeah, that'll be fine. As I say, I will be trying to look a little bit more into chat in a little while, but hopefully for those of you that like watching all of this sort of gubbins, you're getting your eye full of it right now. So what I'm going to do is just make sure that they are coming out both at the bottom, as you can see there. Wallop, and everyone's a winner. So it's time to zoom in a little bit. Zoomy, zoom, 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 zoom. We still in focus? Yeah, we kind of are. Is that going to be in focus though? Yeah, it kind of is. Right. Well, that's a surprise. Okie dokie. So what we're going to do, I am going to put this coil facing up. Now you can have your coil, when I say coil facing up, it's because the legs are running underneath the coil. So you can run it that way, or you can run it upside down. Now I've found personally through the testing that I've been doing, if you're going to run it upside down, then I prefer putting a 2.5mm coil in there when it comes to Claptons at least, just because I think that it still allows plenty of air to go underneath it. However, once you have installed it, obviously you can lift it up and fanny around with it however you like. But no, that's how I found using it. 2.5mm that way, 3mm that way. So hopefully that makes some sense. Now then, let's get these little puppies undone. This is where I damaged myself or something just to do it live. Now, something else that I could have showed you, and I didn't because I'm a terrible reviewer. Let me see what's going on here. Some of that action, and what is this gonna focus? Kind of, yes. Oof, that's close. Right. Can you see at the side of that clamp there, the side of it is actually raised up ever such a small amount, just here. And what that means is obviously that's there to help so your wire doesn't go shooting out the side when you do go and tighten it up. So it does give your wire a little space to sit inside, which is jolly handy. So there we go. So that's just something to be aware of. Should have shown you that earlier, didn't because I'm shit. But you know. We deal with these things. Righty cokey. So let's get this puppy in here. I'm going to just take this off the take the coiling rod out of the thingamajiggy. Pop that in there. And all I'm going to do is just pop the legs in there and in there. Seriously, I'm doing this at arm's length, and it's not as easy as one might imagine. Right, so, whoops. See, all fingers and thumbs today. What's that all about? Right, so I'm just going to pop this in. Now, because I've wrapped this wire myself, I'm going to pop this in at an angle, just because when I twist it back, it will tighten up nicely. And there, and this one as well. I'm just holding on to the legs to make sure they don't spin too much. And give it a little bit of a wiggle to see if we've got any movement in the actual coil itself, to make sure that the legs are attached securely. Make sure that they are nice and tight, which they are. Doesn't seem to be any movement going on there, so that's gravy. Now then, what I can now do is give that a little bit of a twist, and nearly Bob's your auntie. In fact, I'm going to actually loosen this one just a little bit, and I'm going to give it a bit of a tug. Right, I know you can't see anything because my dirty great big hand's in the way, but I'm going to give that a little bit of a tug just to tidy up the coil a little bit. And tighten that one down. And there you go. Same on this side. Give it a bit of a tug. And tighten it down. This is a dead easy RDA to build. I'm making it look way harder than it should be because I am doing it at arm's length and I can't really see what I'm doing. So, anyway, well, I don't think we're quite as bad as Todd's coils yet, so we're okay. Now then, let's cut these bad boy wires. Stop it, bad boy. Cut these wires off. Boom. And oh, and boom. That's those off. Now then, that actually looks way messier than I'd hoped. Hang on a second. I will be with you momentarily. Movie that there, and movie that over there. How does that look? We're looking a little bit tidy, aren't we? Fuck it, that's close enough for jazz. Close enough for jazz, don't you know? Now, anyone know what I did? Found him? Calm down. You replaced bad boy with puppy, says Bill. Quite possibly, my friend, quite possibly. So this is coming through at the minute as 0.22, as you can see there. But let's fire it up. The reason I like making my own coils is they do tend to fire up nice and quickly rather than too much fannying about. And these are 26 gauge dual core stainless steel with, I think this one's, by the looks of it, 38 gauge Clapton around on the outside. So there you go, wallop. That's that. Now we've got to wait for that to cool down for a second so I can have a little look at chat very quickly and have a little drink. Don't know why I've just put the FaceTime camera up so you can watch me drink. But there we go. Boom, wallop. Have some of them apples. What? And let's have a vape as well, shall we? Let's all have a vape. Now, I have had the Bonza on my homemade mod for ages, but I put it back on this Ultrona because I've not the Ultrona EOS, and I've not reviewed this yet. And does anyone else got one of these and finds it could be a little bit underpowered? Just want to throw that out there. Anyway. Blow vapor onto the coils. It definitely helps them cool down quicker, and it's not just me being mental, promise. Right, let's have just a quick look. Like I said, I'm not doing a whole lot on chat today, just because I will do that tomorrow night on the Monday Night Live, where I may have. Obviously, I'll have Mr. Todd, but I may have an extra special guest as well. I'm waiting for confirmation on that one. TX Vapes, Tenacious TX Vapes. Mr. Dreamer is in the house. Hello, sir. Nice to see you. Thank you very much indeed. Vaping V1C K's in the house. Hello, Ricardo. How are you, sir? What else have we got going on? Good. Right. I think we're nearly down on... Am I going to burn my finger? Am I going to burn my finger? Nope. I think we're cool enough to get this wicked. So let's get this done and wicked up. How long are we going for? 31 minutes. This is too long for a little RDA review, but you're seeing stuff live and as it happens. So, you know, that's just crazy exciting, isn't it? So what we'll do is we will cut this cotton. I'm just using Muji just because I'm cheap and Muji's cheap. But ding. For the amount I end up going through, just Muji just works for me. And I'm going to take that edge off there. Take the edge off there, like so, and then I'm just going to pull some extra off because I've cut it a little bit wide. Hashtag professional vapor eye. I don't know. Right, get rid of the cotton that's stuck to my damn fingers, and there we go. A little bit of resistance there, nothing too drastic. And once again, we do have those little kind of drop down sections in the deck there, so we can we don't have to have massive amounts of wick, but I'm going to cut it just a hint outside of the base there. Do that on either side, like so. What comes next? Hashtag tickle the wick. No, that's Inspector Gadget. There we go, tickle the wick. Right. Where's my little screwdriver? Anyone know? Did I get it out? I got it out. Here we go. I'll tell you, this little tiny screwdriver, this is one of those little things that I just love. I think it's great. So what we've done is we've got nice and fluffy wicks going on there, ready to accept loads and loads of juice. We don't want to compress those too much. So I'm using my little tiny dinky screwdriver just to lift up underneath the coil and then just gently guide that down into the little kind of the spaces, if you like, for the wicks to go. Try not to compress them, because the more compressed they are, the harder they'll have as a job to suck up the juice, and we need this to suck like a bad boy. Anyway, there we go. Wallop. How'd you like those apples? So that's reasonably tidy for a change, isn't it? Ish. And that came through at 0.21, as you can see there. Do you know what? I've got absolutely no idea what juice I've got in this pulse. So what I'm going to do is, I think I know. Yeah, I know exactly what juice I've got on my extruder. I've been using the old B2K on the extruder over the last 24 hours and having a jolly good time. So I'm just unscrewing it now. Stick that on there, like so. Now, juice-wise, I posted on my Instagram and Facebook recently that, or yesterday, that that this stuff from Vapor Junkie, Orange Creamsicle is what we're going to be using today. This peach is flipping lovely. It's really, really nice. And Northern Syrup. I've got through just about, I've probably got like 2-3 mil left in the peach one, and maybe a little bit more in the Northern Syrup. But this is kind of like a maple syrup sort of vibe on pancakes, and peach is peach. But they're lovely. I'm actually going to go and buy some because I think it's great. But what we've got is the orange popsicle. So we'll wang that over here. Somebody was asking on my on one of the reviews I did recently, they wanted to see the full build, not sped up. So whoever you are, I hope you're enjoying this, because I imagine a lot of other people could be finding it dull as piss. But hopefully not. And nearly done. And wallop. Get the juice on there. That's vaping away quite the thing. Look at that. Look. Whoosh. Get some of those apples up here. Now then, I think we can probably now pop the top cap on there. I'm going to change out this battery until we've got a nice fresh one as well. Shall I do that? Let's do that. Anyway, let's transition up. All right. Nice to see you. New VTC5A going in there. I know it's only a 0.21, so I don't really need the VTC5A. However, I like the way VTC5A hits, so that's what I'm going to use. Up ya. But, right, that's in there. And pop the door on there, like so. And wallop. Doesn't that look quite sexy? Oh, focus. There we go. Whoosh. See, that gunmetal is a sexy little looking thing, isn't it? Anyway, let's have a little toot on this and see how we're getting on. Hang on. Shall we get the air holes in the right place? Fully open then. Let's go for it. Fabulous. Fabulous. There was a film where someone was fabulous. Oh, I think it was Eddie Murphy. The one where it's like Hercules, Hercules, that one. I think it was that one. Anyway, yeah, quite nice. You can see that that is quite a nice cloudy vape, if that's the sort of thing that tickles your taste buds. And it's not too loud. It's not whistly or anything along those lines. Now, obviously, because that air is going in and underneath the coil, your coil placement is going to be quite pivotal to the experience that you're going to get with it. But that's like that with a lot of RDAs now. So if you're not entirely sure on the kind of flavour you're getting from it, then just have a mess about with your coil placement and see how you're getting on. But no, all in all, I think it's rather nice. Lots of flavour, and that's a nice restriction for me, to be honest with you. That is a nice restriction when it comes to having a decent sort of lung hit. Now, what I'm going to do is get a 510 Driptip. Now then, what? There's a little dinky blue one here that should kind of match my setup. Look at that look. What? Hey? Matchy as you like, isn't it? Right, so I've got the smaller airflow cap in there right now with a 510 Driptip, and let's have another toot. And with that, you will notice pretty much no difference whatsoever, because what I've found is that you notice the difference more so when you're putting an 810 tip in there. Now, hang on, try and get this fucking 510 adapter out. They don't make it easy, do they? Come out, you bastard. Out. Out. Right. Now, I'm taking the 810 Driptip off the big lump and putting it on the little one. Airflow, is that wide open? That's wide open. And so I've got the 810 Driptip on the restricted cap now. And that feels way tighter. And the reason for that, in my opinion, is the fact that the air that you're, like where your mouth is much bigger, so you can suck much more air in. Whereas when you're using a 510 Driptip, you're sucking much less air in. So this definitely does not match up, in my opinion. The tighter cap with the 810 tip, absolutely not. But if you're using a 510 tip and the smaller kind of more sort of flavory cap, like so, then it doesn't feel to be that much difference. And it just kind of, you know, I'm gonna do another comparison with the 810 on the wide open one. And wide open, yes. So there you go. I don't think you will notice a huge amount. There is a very, very small amount of difference between a 510 on the restricted air cap compared to the 810 on the wider air cap. But if you put the 810 on the restricted air cap, are we keeping up? Then you do notice the restriction. Does that make sense? Hopefully that makes sense. So in this kind of setup, no, not really much difference at all. However, put that Driptip on this one, and yes, big difference. Does that make sense? Hopefully that makes sense. So there we go. So all in all, I think it does do a pretty good job. Now, being Wotofo, it's going to be cheap as chips, and this is where I'm going to need my keyboard again, because I forgot. I haven't actually got it up on Google. Now then, Google, let's give me some love now. So Wotofo Nudge 22 millimeter. Wotofo comes up UK. What? No. Okay. No. Vapor DNA in America, $29.99. That is, obviously. Now let me close this down to a UK because that's where I live. And Audacious Vapes. Who are they? Never heard of them. Come on, load up. No, that's a squonk box. That's not the fucking RDA. I don't know. You'll be it's Wotofo, so you'll see it absolutely everywhere. It will be anywhere you can find it, I imagine. But I think it's still reasonable. Boom. Oh no, it's 24mm. Nope, can't see it. Can't see it. So there we go. Someone's saying, who's that? X101. It's not out in the UK. It's only in the States. Boom. There you go. Daniel, DJSB. Hey. Hello, sir. Nice to see you. So there we go. I imagine it will be in the UK soon because America is a much bigger market. Then that's why it tends to go over to the States beforehand. But no, I imagine you're going to be looking at sort of 24, 25 quid, something along those lines for a fairly simple to build, little tasty little 22mm RDA. And let's not forget that if you've got things like your beauty rings, maybe you've got something like the B2K. Let me just check on something on this one, just in case you like your extras and all that sort of good gubbins. There we go. Look, wallop. It's not ideal, but it kind of works. If you want to put one of the beauty rings from the B2K in there, you kind of can. So not entirely sure why you'd want to, but if you want to make it a bit matchy, you can. It is a little bit thinner on the outside, so be aware of that. But no, otherwise, all in all, I prefer this to. I've lost my ear holes. Hang on. I do prefer this one to the 24mm. I think it's easier to build. I think the flavour's good, and the only thing you've really got to be aware of is the fact that it looks a bit fucking weird when you've got the 810 Driptip on there, and B, it's if you do over squonk, if you're a habitual over squonker, particularly if you use silicone bottles, if you're a habitual over squonker or over dripper, then you do have to be aware of that. This isn't going to be for your 0 point fuck all coils, so make sure that if you build sensibly and you just like having an all day vape, you're hitting around that 0.2. I mean, like I said, this is coming through at 0.21, and I think cloudage wise it's entirely respectable. Perfectly reasonable in my idea. So there we go. That was the Nudge 22 review and build. And if you've got one, as always, leave your comments down below rather than in the chat. I'm always into seeing a little bit more of those because I like to know what your experiences are. Now let's have a quick look at the chat before I go. Is that a crown on the shelf? Yes. What's in the woods? Yes, it is. And that was something that Mr. Todd gave me when I overtook him in subs. What else have we got going on? DJ LSP's last vlog. Yeah, absolutely. It was a cool vlog. Actually, Daniel, well done. Like that. And congratulations on the move to America. Dean, please put the crown on. No, because it's considerably too small. So you'll have to find the vlog where I do put it on because it looks ridiculous. Now, pardon me. I know you're a dripper man more than a tank, but what are your thoughts on the Coilin? Which one? Hasn't there been like 3 different Coilins? The original one I thought was quite good. The dual coil Coilin, I thought that was quite a good tank. So there we go. That's that one. So compare it to other single coil 22mm RDAs. This is a tough one, and I've sort of addressed this on a couple of live streams, mainly because I don't think it's super easy to do a direct comparison because there's very, very little when it comes to the difference in flavour. At the end of the day, with something like this, when you've got your let me see if I can show you. Hold on. Whip. And transition. Okay, so you can see your coil right there. So it's literally 10 mil away from your mouth. So when it's that close to your mouth, particularly if you're using Claptons and all that sort of stuff, there's very little places for the vape flavour and vapor to go. The main thing is how big that inner chamber is. So when it comes to a lot of the sort of single coil RDAs that I will look at, there tends to be similar kind of inner chamber sizes. I'm not posh enough to have the sort of the high end single coil ones, so the super reduced chambers and all that sort of stuff, I've not really tried any of those. But when it comes to a number of the sort of the restricted lung hitting single coil jobs, I think it's perfectly reasonable and matches up rather well with a lot of them, to be honest with you. So it's going to be very much dependent on the aesthetics, the price and all that sort of stuff, and if it ticks boxes for you. So I know it sounds like a cop-out, but that's absolutely how I feel. I think we're at that point now where it's very, very difficult to kind of get any more flavour out of a lot of RDAs. It's more obvious now when something comes out which is crap with flavour than anything that's good, because there are so many good sort of flavour RDAs out there. What have we got going on here? There we go. So if anyone's got any questions about the nudge, like I say, this isn't, unfortunately, it's not a just a regular vlog. I'll be doing a normal Monday Night Live tomorrow night. So you know, if you do want to ask any questions about this, then crack on. If it's this sort of general stuff, hopefully I'll address those tomorrow. And that's mainly because I don't want this review to go on forever. We've been like 50 minutes already, which is crazy. So, you know, I don't want it to go on forever. But we can address more tomorrow night on the Monday Night Live. Is that all right? Hopefully that's all right. Plus, it's 7 o'clock on a Sunday night, and I want to go and watch some more. What's it called? Altered Carbon or whatever it is on Netflix. We've got about 3 episodes in, and I'm unsure, but if Demolition Man and The Fifth Element had a baby, Altered Carbon would be it. Earl is asking, nudge or pulse in your opinion? I think the nudge is a tighter lung hit. Now obviously with the pulse you can reduce that down. I do think that the nudge is maybe slightly shorter than the pulse. Have I got the pulse 22 here? Is there a 22 of the pulse? There is, isn't there? I honestly can't remember. I'm sorry, mate. I cannot remember. How does the blue one match with the blue colour on the extruder? Oh, fuck me sideways. Hang on. There you go, Lois. Quite well. So hopefully that answers that one. Came in late, nudge or wasp nano? Whatever you fancy. Whichever tickles your boat. Subbone says, for me it depends on the coils I put in for a flavour difference, and that's absolutely right. I mean, you guys know, if you've been watching me for quite some time, that I like my stainless steel 26 gauge dual core Claptons with 38 or occasionally 36 gauge Clapton around the outside and then flattened out. That to me is my favourite coil. I put that in everything. Obviously when I'm testing, I do everything from single core round wire bills or single round wire bills, spaced, not spaced, and all that sort of good stuff. So there's a whole bunch that I will put through them, but every single atomizer I have at one point or another will have my favorite type of coil in there. It will vary in diameter and in amount of wraps, obviously, but no, everything goes through that, just because for me that's the coil that I get the best flavor from. But that's only my little opinion. So I think we are all good. I think we are all covered. I'm not going to keep going through every atomizer and saying this or that one, because like I just said, they're all so similar in taste, that it's very, very difficult to differentiate between the two. And I could make stuff up. And I could say, oh, so-and-so is way better flavour than the other thing. But for me, that's not what I feel. So, you know, keeping it real, brother. Keep it real, homie. That's what I'm doing. and deal with it. There you go. But no, I don't mean to be. I don't mean to be particularly negative with that one. But that's exactly how I feel. So I can't really kind of make stuff up just for the sake of it. So no, that's it, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for watching. What have we got? For those of you on my Patreon group, I've put a post up there a little while ago about something when it comes to the Patreon specific giveaway. So just go and check that if you're one of my Patreon supporters. I'm not entirely sure when I'm going to be doing the next raffle on the channel, but that will probably be in a couple of months' time once I've built up a nice little prize package going on for you guys. Is there anything else I need to tell you? No, tomorrow's Monday Night Live should be happening, all fine and dandy. I should have been recording reviews today, but if you're on my Facebook group, you will know that I spent a couple of hours doing more testing of the Daedalus V2 in preparation for the review. Now I've had it for ages, but I've been testing the crap out of it for ages, and I'm waiting on one final response from Avid Artisan before I go ahead and do the review. But no, currently V1 love, V2. So there we go. So thank you very much for joining me. I hope it's been useful for somebody. This is going to be massive. I sincerely doubt anyone's going to get to this point of the review on Watchback, but thank you very much for sticking with me. Thank you very much for your constant level of support. Please hit the like button if that tickles your fancy, and make sure that you are subscribed, and tell all your friends to subscribe, because that would be lovely. Thank you very much indeed. Right, and on that note, I'm going. Should we do a cloud out? Have it larger.